Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Gangs of London. A lot of interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break this down. Jeez, sorry. This is episode 2, but it's technically episode 3 just because AMC, the way they divided the first episode into 2 episodes, but really this is episode 2 if you go by the original British numbering, but it's episode 3 if you go by AMC's numbering. Technicalities and stuff like that, right? And I don't know why AMC did that, but whatever. I don't know if they're the only ones who did, but regardless, tangents and all that aside, we get a little bit more insight and understanding, Elliot's situation. We find out who Naomi is. Naomi's his wife that died, and he also has a son named Samuel. So it's like, I don't know. They talk about Naomi died. We don't know if Samuel died. Like, I don't know if it's a situation where, like, Naomi died and maybe, like, somehow he lost custody to Samuel, but it almost makes it seem like it was like a package deal situation of like he lost Naomi and then like Samuel and then like the same moment, and it seems like it was 2 years ago, which is around the time he went undercover. So I'm because even like Victoria Vic is just talking to, like, I'm assuming their superior officer, and he's just like, yeah, I don't think this is a good idea, like, it's like, for one, no one being this, UC undercover should be, like, this close to the violence and stuff like that. But also, it's like saying Elliot's not in the most stable position right now, I'm assuming, because of that. So it's obviously like a check-in every once in a while to be like, hey, you good? You not crazy? You not falling apart? I think it's that type of thing of, like, getting a psychological, like, checkup every once in a while, and and it's like, because he had to convince Victoria last episode, hey, let me stay undercover. This episode, it's like, she's having to convince their boss, let him keep going on, staying under. So, because it's like, yeah, he's closer to the inner circle, but none of the stuff that he's close to now is enough to take down the Wallace organization. Like, they need to take down, like, the money, the shell corporations and stuff like that. That in itself, once you take that down, then you're taking down the entire Wallace organization. So, which Elliot realizes, like, the person to go after would be Alex, because Alex is the one that handles the business side of things. He's the one that's kind of avoided getting his hands dirty amongst all the operations, at least, just from what Elliot's been able to pick up so far. So, but I brought it up last episode. I'd assumed that the Wallace organization had something to do with, like, someone close to him dying, hence why he's so adamant about doing this. Like, it seems like, you get assigned stuff, but it just feels like this is a personal thing. Like, he decided, like, no, send me undercover. I got this. So, we'll hopefully find out more. We'll probably get more and more as the season progresses about, Elliot's situation. But, you had Sean finding Jack's body, and now it's a situation of like, well, now, because it's hard to say what, it seems like they're kind of implying, like, Sean might believe, like, nah, Jack didn't kill himself, because the moment Elliot went there, he was like, damn, Jack. He's like, yeah, it doesn't make sense for a guy who fought so hard to survive just to end up killing himself. So I think Sean kind of thinks the same, because he was having a conversation with Alex about everything as well, about finding Jack's body. Like, the conversation about Jack doesn't go beyond that, like, in the sense that, like, we don't see too many other people bring it up. So I don't know whether, like, Sean's keeping that super close to the vest that Jack is dead. But, I had skipped over it, but there's also the whole situation at the beginning where it was like, you're seeing all those cows and stuff, you're like, what's okay? And then they explode, you're like, what? It was pretty gnarly situation. We see them getting cut off. It's like in Turkey, and it's like, okay, so now, later with the context of the episode, we end up piecing it together. Okay, so that was Asif's heroin inside of the cows. Whoever it was jacked him of his heroin, found like a new truck with pretty much the same design and with like regular cows, none with the drugs inside of them, and like sent the driver on his way. It's because, like, okay, you go and continue this, you do this, like, because you go ahead and complete your delivery like normal. Either that was them holding up a picture of, like, his family saying, like, you do this or your family's done. But I think that's kind of what they were kind of, like, threatening and implying. So, like, you just drop this off, and obviously, so when the time came and opening up the cows, none of them had the drugs because Lele, I think is her name, had already stolen them. And for her, her right-hand dude being like, all right, us doing this is declaring wars, and she's like, it's fine. Like, Sean's so fixated on, finding Finn's killer that he's not recognizing the fact is that London's slipping from right underneath his hands, so she's kind of like happy about that. So that was interesting, because then later on, Asif, his son Nasir is running for mayor. And so it seems like him and Alex seem like they're kind of similar. Well, Alex seems okay with being connected to things. He just doesn't want to be connected to the bloody aspects of things. Seems like Nasir doesn't want to be connected to all this either, but Asif's like, what are you talking about? This is how we get your influence and power. Like, without this backing, you wouldn't have the money you have for your run for mayor and stuff like that. But it seems like Nasir just wants to it's like, no, I don't want any of this, like, business, and it's like, blah, blah. It's like, no. We're going to talk this business, because this negative side of things, the drugs and everything, it's like, yeah, if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't have the money necessary for your campaign and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm what support your campaign, so don't get it twisted where the money comes from, type of thing. Which obviously that leads to a conversation, because Alex is the one that allowed Asif to, like, continue his operations, even though Sean was like, everyone across the board, no operations. So it's also like, once again, it kind of, shows like, so the Wallace organization isn't, completely behind Sean if they're, like, making deals behind his back and stuff like that. Because obviously, like, Sean was unaware, so it is a thing of kind of anyone kind of working against him, he kind of is very suspicious of. But for Asif, it's like, hey, I'm out $5 million right now, so kind of basically things need to be made right, or there could be issues when there don't need to be none, So, but it's also because it's like Asif needs to be working, because it's like, I think for them, it's like, well, the Wallace organization will be suffering if no one's doing anything. So, like, Asif doing his thing kind of helps us and benefits us in the end. But, like, obviously, speaking of the Wallace organization, like, Ed's meeting up with, a home dude who they're suspicious of because Finn died in their territory. And he made it clear last episode, we had nothing to do with that. But apparently, like, he has something on Finn, and it's like, okay, we've done our part for the Wallace organization. It's time for the Wallace organization to do its part for us. But it's like, Ed being like, the Wallace organization will do what's best for itself. So it's like, so you're the secret keeper and everything, but did you know about this? And it's like a whole bunch of photos, and it's like, Ed kind of puts them away. So it's like, whether it's connected to, like, what Finn was at that place to do, who knows? Because obviously, like, Billy is suggesting, like, oh, like, maybe it was personal. We never, like, found out why Dad was there in the first place. And their mom is kind of suggesting if it was someone that loved him, they would have never shot. Like, if it was, like, a woman trying to cover something up, it would have never been a situation of, if it was someone who loved him, would have never, like, shot him in the head, shot him in the face, essentially. So she doesn't believe this to be, like, a personal thing, like maybe he was, like, having an affair with somebody or something like that. Like, that's kind of what she's kind of implying and suggesting. But it definitely seems like there's probably some really dirty secrets, because those photos, I don't know if they're connected to that. The reason why Ed killed Jack last episode, it might be like that's a completely different, separate thing from whatever those photos are. We have no idea. We didn't even get a glimpse at what they are, but there was a shit ton of photos in that envelope, so who knows. This episode in itself too also gave us a little more insight into kind of like Sean and Billy, because Billy's desperate to do whatever he can to help Sean. He's like, what do you need me to do? And Sean's like, nothing. And Billy's frustrated. So while he's all kind of partying, and he sees someone getting high, he's like, whoa, where'd you get those drugs? And he ended up finding out later on they're from, like, Lele's dude. And so he, like, obviously Elliot was there to kind of, like, because Elliot was ordered by Sean to go track him down. And, Billy just took off with his car, because more so than anything is because for Billy, it's like you're on the same side and everything, but it's also because Billy wanted the credit. He would have been like, hey, I found out who did it, but but Sean was like, you out of anyone shouldn't have done that. Like, I don't want you involved. But for him, it's like, Dad's dead. Let me help. I feel useless. But for Sean, it's like, you've always been there protecting me. It's kind of like my turn to protect you, because his brother's like, it seems like obviously recently sober, and that's because his mom was saying like, I have my boy, like, because we still don't know, God, I'm blanking on their sister's name. Like, obviously, she's, like, got nothing to do with this. So this is mainly, like, a Sean and Billy thing. Because she's like, Billy is, sober, and Sean, you're strong. Because the real, like, opening to the episode when we had, like, a younger Sean and Billy and Finn, kind of welcoming them to this world, because it's like, okay, we're going, like, hunt. It made it seem like they were hunting a rabbit or something like that, but instead it was, like, a bucket, and you're like, what the hell's up with that? I figured it was going to be, like, a head or something underneath. I didn't expect it to be, like, oh, a guy's actually alive. They just buried him up to his neck, and it's like, yeah, so, Sean, you need to kill him. It's like, well, what did he do? And it's just like, well, he made a bargaining, or something like that. And Finn didn't really get into specifics about what the dude had actually done, just suggests that Sean did, and the guy was pleading, and then Finn just puts the bucket back on top and is like, yeah, just shoot the bucket. And at the end of the day, the moment the trigger got pulled, because you could tell just from the angle and stuff, I was like, oh, it wasn't actually Sean to put. I figured it was Billy, and it was him. And Finn was kind of disappointed, being like, I thought you were ready, but apparently, I don't know whether that was like a, sorry, son, I thought you were ready, or I'm disappointed, son, I thought you were ready. It seemed more like the former, but it could be. It seemed more like the latter, but I guess it could have been the former. But because his mom was almost just kind of like, I don't know. Because a lot of stuff has kind of fallen to Sean, because he's the one that kind of has to bear the brunt and blunt of everything. But I think Billy wants, it's like Billy wanted to protect his brother. It's just like, so Sean wouldn't have to do it. And now I think Sean's doing it, the flip side of that, like, I don't want you connected to this. Like, I think all this kind of ended up pushing Billy to kind of get into drugs and everything, and it sent him spiraling. So it's like, I don't want to see my brother spiraling again. So don't worry, I handle everything. I've got this. You just stay here. And I think for Billy, it's frustrating, because he's just like, I'm also Dad's son too. I can handle stuff. I'm not so like weak and fur. I need you to protect me. But I think for Sean, it's like, I owe you so much that I can't. I owe it to you. I owe it to our mom for me to look after you. So he's dead set on getting revenge, because Darren's dad just showed up to like one of their dinners and was like, okay, my son's the one that pulled the trigger, but he was hired. Here's the phone. And it's like, okay, like, but, and it's like, so we're good. You're not going to come after my son. And it's like, well, I promise not to shoot you in the back. But for him, it's like, you handling things the way you are is bad business, because you are going to be igniting a lot of wars handling it. I mean, because once again, that's the whole point for them to be like, Sean's to them, it's like, oh, Sean's a child handling things this way. But it's also like, because he's getting grief from so many people, like, Alex doesn't want things handled this way, but, you also have Sean being almost like, oh, it's easy for you to say because, oh, look at these hands, still clean. It's like, almost, I think it's like, oh, like, I think, because what's frustrating for Sean is like, my dad was like a father to you. He treated you like a son, and when the time comes to like actually go after his killer, you're not willing to do what's necessary. And it's like, oh, look at these clean hands. It's like you've been able to manage to stay with clean hands, but that won't happen. That won't stay forever. You'll be kind of forced to get your hands dirty, like I've had to. But also, like, Ed doesn't approve of Sean going like the war, waging it like he is. But also, like, it's also like, I don't know whether it's like his mom's kind of got blinders on too because she's so angry, or whether it is just a situation. She purely supports what he's doing, because for her it's like no one else is doing, because that's always the thing of like no one would have ever done something like killing Finn. It's just like, because normally he's too good and he's too top of things, but it's like whoever it was, obviously that being Darren, got lucky. So they ended up finding out where like the travelers are, ended up blowing up their spot because of Billy. Elliot wasn't there to kind of like probably like find out ahead of, like he knew ahead of time, like, okay, they're trying to find the traveler's spot, but like I said, Billy kind of screwed Elliot over. Because, like, every move Elliot's been making is just like, all right, I'm trying to be close to the inner circle so I can know what's what. He had called Vic up to let her know, like, okay, they're trying to find the travelers. But because he wasn't there, because he missed the whole, like, conversation, he wasn't able to warn her to let her know, like, yo, they're rolling up on this particular area, so we need to get there before things. Because they riddled everyone in that place. Literally everyone there is dead. I mean, the thing is, because Darren's not even there, because his dad had already sent him away, and he managed to be it seems like the only one that ended up surviving the whole thing. So that's not going to be good when he eventually rolls back up with more support. Like, yo, I mean, because the whole point, I forgot who it was that was making that whole point. Someone had made that point about wiping out bloodlines. After something like what happened to Finn, like it's like a situation of like, you don't just go for one person, you make a statement, because it's also a thing of like, Sean feels the need, like he has to flex to prove himself to be a man. So it's like, so for him, it's like, it's like, I got to do this, so once again, Ed doesn't agree, but it is what it is, and can't go against Sean's orders. And obviously his mom needed this, or at the very least, maybe she knows Sean needed it, so that's why she kind of gave the go-ahead, why she was so okay with everything, because she felt like it's not necessarily like I need it, but Sean needs it. He needs a victory. At the very least, in her mind, it's probably like, this will put everyone in place, because no one's taking Sean seriously, like no one's giving him the respect like they would Finn, because to everyone else, he's essentially a petulant child, sitting on a king's throne, playing king rather than actually being king. It's kind of got that vibe to it. I mean, last episode kind of made that clear too. Which we also have like Asif like going through all the people, using that gun they used to kind of like, it was like kind of like that boat gun they used to put down cows. On all the people. The first person he ended up killing was the driver. So it's not like the driver knows who was responsible, but he was the one that kind of showed up with the fake cow. So like, obviously going one by one for all the people that are connected to all of this. Like, yeah, so who's got my heroin? So, which now they do know. And even Malay's right-hand dude was like, yeah, they know. So, but once again, it's still a thing that Sean's kind of focused more so on things on that front. So whether he'll kind of give this, well, I'm sure he will next episode give that kind of a lot of his attention too, of like, right, the backstabbing, in the sense that Lele hit Asif's like heroin, took it, and is now selling it. Once again, no one's supposed to be operating, but they're more so operating because it's like, well, we need some money, and it's like, oh, Asif is made in a deal with Alec. Well, Asif and Nasir, like, obviously, like, they kind of got eyes and ears on the fact is like, oh, they have a deal with Alex and stuff like that. So they still got shipments that are kind of stuck where they are. So this is their middle finger to the Wallace organization for like, oh, we need our money too. We're supposed to be, so we'll see kind of where all of this ends up taking us. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.